Well, now what's happening with the child? It's your man's an unfiled shot and reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network, where today's segment will be how no one is bigger than the program. Same way they say, in gang culture, no person is bigger than the set. And when you start breaking ranks, whether either on the right hand side of things or the left hand side of things, there are consequences. Typically, from my understanding, we're all born into sin, you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. Or say, let's say, just use the quote unquote chosen one's talking point, right? You're born in the world, but you have a different type of programming where you try to do the things of the world, maybe school, maybe certain jobs, school, higher education. But your programming internally don't seem to kind of fit into the whatever the case may be. Or let's say when you break away from, institutionalized church, excuse me, you try to do it, but you got questions or it really ain't hitting the way you need it to hit. And then when you break that programming, typically there's, shunning, isolation, blackballing, shadow banning, so on and so forth. Now, if you can get through that period of time of the attacks and the doors of opportunity being closed, things of that nature, then you step into a new programming, which is the Most High's program. And I'm thinking about this because I've seen a lot about I can't pronounce the name, Shador Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, right? Just like he's trending, just like, Shannon Sharp or whatever. So as I'm taking in this information in a general sense, because I don't really have time to really, get into it super deep. Now they've colluded a la just like Colin Kaepernick because he broke the program. He wouldn't stop doing, even though it was kneeling, stop doing that. It's not about what we said, it's about we don't care. And then they all colluded, to not hire the man to play football and then make up these asinine arguments as to why nobody pick him up. When at that time, Colin Kaepernick had to be better than the lower half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL at the time. So with that being said, he broke the programming. Now I believe he got paid eventually down the line, but even when he got paid, because they were doing that, he signed some paperwork saying he can't talk about it after we pay you, because we reserve the right to do it again if anybody else break the mold. When let's say Malcolm X, when he was in the programming of the Nation of Islam at that time, when he started having other inklings or going over to Mecca and seeing other things, I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff going on, like Elijah Muhammad, basically practicing polygyny or whatever the case may be. Um, he then broke the program. When he broke the institutionalized Muslim programming at that time for him, he got unalived. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm thinking about Shador Sanders, where I was saying this right about, they're saying why won't nobody draft him, even though he's probably the top quarterback prospect. They'll say, oh, he don't interview well, or whatever they come up with, right? But it had nothing to do with that. That's just the excuse they used when they colluded with him. So I think he has been drafted by the Cleveland Browns. So they basically essentially sent him, which would be the equivalent of, since we're here in Rome, going to the Cleveland Browns organization is the equivalent of John the Revelator being sent to the island of Patmos when he broke the programming of execution by the Most High will. From my understanding, they tried to burn him in cooking oil. He didn't cook, and since he broke that programming, they sent him to the mines of Patmos, and that's where he had the revelation that we read of in Revelation. Um, it's a good thing, I think. But when you break the program, you're gonna get the backlash. The people turn on you. They were just cool with you. Just had you got drafted or just played along to get along, they'd have been your friend. But now because of this, now on behalf of the program, they talking down on you, this, that, and the third. So he goes to the Cleveland Browns. Okay, cool. My hope and prayer is that he exceeds expectations. Because I talked about how on here when you break the program, they start moving the goalposts. The only way to actually beat it, hey, what's happening with you? The only way to beat it is to actually endure. So you're gonna have to endure the slander. You're gonna have to endure the setups, and you're gonna have to be ever more vigilant. Cause one more thing, or they might send a lady in red at him, or whatever the case may be. But he broke the programming, cause typically he's not coming into the league the same way most Negro men come into the league. Typically, most Negro men come into the league from single parent household, maybe a lack of finance, so on and so forth. He coming in, he already got money. He got a strong father figure in his life. So he can come in with a little more leverage and talk a little more yin yang. Here's what they don't like. You come in with your own ideas. We don't need you think, no, you know what I'm saying? That's basically what they're saying in translation. Um, so that's what they're actually mad about, and then saying he's arrogant or he's this, that, and the third. There's a difference between arrogance and confidence from honing your skill set. Now, these same people won't critique or say Peyton Manning or Tom Brady are arrogant. They're say they're fearless, they're mavericks, right? But when the black man do the same thing, he arrogant, he's a problem, he's disruptive. You see what I'm saying? And just keep moving the goalposts. And I'm also noticing something too as well, where people like let's say the LeVar Ball guy, when he was coming into the league, he came in, his sons had their own brand. All the black pundits or whatever, instead of saying, yo, that's what's up, or whoop the whoop the woo, they like, nah, man, that ain't gonna work, and da da da. Now, as time has proceeded itself, each one of his sons has carved out a lane within themselves. You know, I think I get them all mixed up, but one's playing, I believe, in Charlotte. One's overseas in China doing his thing. The other one may not be as skilled. He's still skilled, but maybe not to that degree. But now he's inked a multi-million-dollar deal rapping. It seems like whenever you have a strong black father, like the Williams sisters, Tiger Woods' dad, whenever you got a strong black father who is instrumental in guiding and directing your life, they try to separate the two. Just like, no different than, when you get into these various programs, music, sports, or whatever, they try to break you away from your old home. Now, some of them might not be beneficial, so that they can put their people around you to hold you in check. That's the program. You break the program, they try to break you. You know what I'm saying? Also, as well, I think there's a program, and I think I said this in a video a while back, how I believe now, the quote-unquote chosen, whoever you are, we probably got something different to do in the body of Yahusha, right? I think certain people are, law, statute, commandments, right? And then I also believe there are certain people who are called for a specific task, right? Like maybe, David had a specific task. Samson, specific task. But during that time frame, there were other, I guess, people who obeyed the Torah and weren't Pharisees or institutionalized religion like that there. So typically when you come out of the worldly program, like my program would be, set for me would probably be, drug addiction, being a bum, jail, stuff like that, right? So I go through a period of time where I'm not doing that, but it's still hindering me, my background or lack of references, lack of skill set, da da da. But so long as you keep enduring, eventually, you break the program, just like the word said, patience, endurance, you know what I'm saying, producing certain things. So then once you outlast it, whatever was transpiring for you to outlast or stay away from the world program, actually hones and builds the skill set for a new programming, for you to be, within the most highest programming. Case in point, a la myself, I get a little hot in here. A la myself, it seems like outside of whatever he's called me to do, I can't do nothing else, even though seemingly nothing stopped me. I talked about how I wanted to lead the country on here. It keep falling apart. The numerous times I've attempted to do it in numerous different ways and aspects. I've tried other jobs, industries. I keep getting funneled back into the one that caused me the most vexation, but it's also the one I got the most experience in. Now, I have a desire for the community to help, but the bureaucracy is such where it's kind of hard to, with chain of command, so on and so forth. But in the short, I've gotten into this position. Then to come to discover when I get in, the director of the health department, he retires. Then my personal director over my department, he's retired, which has now opened the door and set the stage, because of circumstances, to be free to do what I was already wanted to do, been prepared to do after I broke the program. I just had to wait. But the circumstances have now aligned where I'm free to do what I want to do anyway, and I'm good at it, and I got a heart for it. But had I not, or let's say my will had worked I wouldn't be in this point with my child and so on and so forth. So now that I'm under the Most High's programming, I can't even break that program in and of myself. Such as when the Bible talk about, Yeshua saying, I have no power of my own, but only that of the Father, or I've come to do the Father's will. He couldn't even break the program. He had to do something that he was sent forth and designed and created to do. And then after that's done, you're gone up out of here. You see what I'm saying? In the case of John the Baptist, he was brought here to be the heralded messenger of Yeshua. And after Yeshua has started his public ministry, you're no longer needed. We can call you back home. That was his program. We're all under a program at this point. And I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Because anything breaking the program, you're actually breaking the law. Okay, they talk about aliens, which I know not to be aliens, but demonic entities masquerading as something from another planet. Or even, let's say, Neo in the Matrix, right? He gets these scales, but he was always designed to wake up and to be an anomaly in the program. He was programmed to be an anomaly in the program. But he ended up being more of an anomaly of the program than the program actually thought of. Now, he's still bound by the parameters of the Matrix, but not necessarily the laws governing it. Word life. Let me see if I can say that again. I'm in the world, but I'm not bound by the laws governing the world. Just like I'm, COVID time. Yeah, they imposed that on me, but I ain't get jiggy with it. Because that stuff don't apply to me. Because I make it not apply to me. Because my programming tells me that don't apply to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Or in the case of, let's say, Jonah. He's programmed or called to go over here to Nineveh and tell the people XYZ. He attempts to break the programming and go the opposite direction. What happens? When he attempts to break the programming, the programmer, the Most High, instructs the program to swallow him up, knowing that if I swallow him up, he'll do this, and he'll go back and do what I wanted to do anyway because I needed it to happen. I was thinking about this, right? And I'm on this programming kind of thing here, at least, right? So me and my partner, yesterday I was talking to, who said he had tried to unalive himself, got so drunk, he tried to shoot himself in the head, and he passed out right before his finger pulled the trigger, and he fell backwards. But he's asleep, he's unconscious, he don't know this, but he wake up alive, right? So I was thinking about like world events, right? And certain things that happen. Like we got to talking about this, right? And we were talking about someone who had made the engine that's fueled by water. They did that like maybe in the 20s, around the time of like, Ford and all, mass production stuff and whoop, 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 whoop. Let's say, and according to, speculation, he died under mysterious circumstances, to say the least, right? If I think he was attempting to break a program. Noble, yes. But if the water engine program takes hold, the world doesn't look the way it looks now, nor does it operate in that fashion. If he is allowed or protected by the Most High, right, to build, and have it go, patent it and it become, mass produced, the water produced engine, do countries fight over oil? And then these countries fighting over oil, does that help, down the line, in which countries, in the Middle East are fighting over oil, Muslim countries bringing all that in, the religious aspects, so on and so forth. He couldn't have been allowed to do that, because had he done that, prophecy don't happen. You know what I mean? Let's say Spartacus, right? One of my favorite historical characters. They said a move here, a move there. He could have toppled him. He could have toppled the world empire at the time, which was the Holy Roman Empire, which I don't know what's so holy about. I wish they stopped using that name, just like the Vatican and all that, right? But if Spartacus wins, does America exist now? And America has to exist now and be destroyed because of he'd actually been a program breaker. So even though it looks like he's about to, okay, I'll give you another one. Nazi Germany. For all intents and purposes, for the steamrolling they were doing throughout Europe, it looked like for a minute that they was going to conquer, the known world or be able to impose themselves. They had greater technology, a greater way to mass produce, but somehow their campaign fell apart. Because if their campaign don't fall apart, the political Israel's not established, where the Antichrist can then come in and sit and masquerade and do all that dead. The program had to make him fail, even though it looked like he should have won, because the world would have looked different. It would have gave the Bible absolutely no credence. Some stuff and I know this in my personal life, right? Some stuff that seem honorable is not meant for me to do at this time because it's going to break my program. I'm not who I am now. Had, my shawty right at the time not passed away, my whole life looked different. I'm probably not as evolved as I am now if that don't take place. I still might be prone to casual dating, sex, whatever you want to call that, because the connection was so I can't really get jiggy with a feet unless, it don't have to be like that, but it has to be something. You know what I mean? Because I've tasted it. Anything else outside of that, a true, genuine connection, rapport, whatever, is a waste of time to me. My programming don't agree with it. But unless I went through a season of life that would change my programming, I'm not who I am now on YouTube talking to y'all. What would I be doing? I'd be out of alignment. So me getting proverbially deconstructed and crushed was a part of the program. I couldn't have ducked it if I wanted to. Every time I would leave rehab, go relapse, and say to myself, I'm not going back into rehab, before I know it, within 18 months, I'm back in rehab because that's where I'm supposed to be at to go on the path. Now, I truly believe this. You can't necessarily speed stuff up, but I know you can delay it by disobedience or trying to run your own will or whatever the case may be, or blase. It was actually, now we all know Christopher Columbus doesn't discover America. How you discover something people already at, right? But if he doesn't, quote unquote, discover America, the transatlantic slave trade don't happen. And we don't get punished in the way we're punished now for us to awaken during the fall of Babylon, which was prophesied. So even the wicked are used in the Most High schemes here. And that's what real as it gets. I do now evermore believe in a certain amount of predestination. If God made the end from the beginning, or if he's sealing, though, how you know who to seal unless he already know who's his anyway? We're just playing this out. Just like if you're playing a video game. Like I got a zombie shooting game on my phone. You know what I'm saying? The program is already written for me to go through it in a certain manner. You know what I'm saying? Now you can do side missions and this, that, and the third and all that. But I can't get no further in the game until I conquer the boss that the game has set forth. Because when I beat the boss, then I get the proper attributes to then step foot to the next stage. Just like they say, you don't, what's the word? Like you'll keep repeating the same lesson over and over again till you pass the test. I didn't get any internal or external motion going until I surrendered. Which is insane because I got a highly vivid imagination. I think outside the box and all, and with all that thinking outside the box, I can't even break the program. You know what I mean? Peter got rebuked when he attempted to break the program when Yahusha told him, he was about to go, sacrifice himself, essentially, so on and so forth. He's like, nah, you my mans in them, paraphrase, and he rebuked him because he was breaking the program. If he don't, out of misplaced love, and I don't think Peter meant to be any, you know what I'm saying? But he said he had to rebuke Satan in him, but it seemed good. I've known you, I don't want nothing to happen to you. He not understand that this is a part of the program. And this is a big part of it. And he actually rebuked him for not wanting him to essentially sacrifice himself as a sacrificial lamb. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm now thinking or coming to this revelation of how prophecy is so accurate. Because it's already happened. We just haven't experienced it yet. Just like I was talking about deja vu. How do I experience something I've never experienced, but already feel like I've experienced it for, a quick 2-3 seconds, and I've never been here? It's because I've already went through it. It's just a small version of maybe my subconscious or however that works. Is privy to a small piece of that information and it resonates. Just like I think a certain anointing, a certain calling, it's time release. It's time for certain people to wake up. For someone who's used drugs for over 20 years, the programming got broken because now it's time for me to get off drugs. But for what I'm about to do, I'm well versed because of my experience. And I was not that I don't think the Most High wanted me to do that, but He used it for His benefit. Because now I can speak expressly to the people who are under the same stronghold of the programming of drug addiction here in Babylon. And I speak the language, and I ain't get free in and of myself. I got free when the Most High sent a breakthrough when seemingly I had done all I could do. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So now, as far as, you know, how the word tells us, fear not, I'm getting into, like, I'll run hypothetical scenarios in my head of, like, contingency plans and all that. And I guess it's all right, you know what I mean, for the mental exercise portion of it. But when you say fear not, I think I'm taking that to a greater level and degree. There's nothing to fear. Because I knew this when I was still in active addiction. I'm not going nowhere till the Most High send my number in. Now, I ain't no mayhap. I know I abused grace and mercy. But shoot, I'm not going nowhere. And I should have been unalive on a plethora of occasions. By my own hands, circumstances, other people. I might have done it. But here I stand. You know what I'm saying? And I know, and me and my man talked about this Friday, where we know a plethora of people who we feel were better than us and had more to offer the world, and they're no longer here. For a fraction of the stuff, we've been able to survive. You know what I'm saying? I've survived more stuff than people who are gone. You know what I'm saying? But I'm some poop right now. How? Because I wasn't designed. Like the stuff I'm talking about now, I knew this back in middle school. But we're designed to wake up at a certain point. Just like, okay, let's say the Black Panthers, right? Noble, so on and so forth. But if the Black Panthers are successful, we're not begging for the fall of Babylon. Because now Babylon's a place where we're accepted, or where we can own an NFL team, or now we're not being blackballed and we're on the same par with everybody. And if we do that, there's not such a need and desire to cry out to the Most High. Just like here's one. When I read that story, I forgot what book in the Apocrypha it's in, but it was talking about, I believe, the tribe of Levi. And whereas though they did something in and of themselves, I think they were going to attack another entity outside of Egypt to get on Egypt's good side, so in the hopes that maybe Egypt would let them go. And it said in the Apocrypha, in that particular story, that God punished them. I forgot how it said He punished them, but because they tried to get out of or break the program that had been set, for Him to ultimately, you know, a while later, perform his miracle in the Passover and the parting of the Red Sea and all that. They would have subverted all that unintentionally. Now, granted, He could have did something else, but I don't want to do something else. I've already wrote about this because I made the end from the beginning. So you trying to get out of this early is going to mess everything up. So I'm going to make it so you fail. You see what I'm saying? I read I believe in the story of Joseph in the Apocrypha, where he tried to do something to get out of jail early outside of the Most High. And it said God punished him by leaving him in jail another 2 to 3 years. Hey, Miss Pearl, what's happening with it? What's going on with you? It said that He punished him by leaving him in jail another 2 to 3 years, right? Because if he gets out of jail early, outside of the Most High's anointed time and will, you know what I mean? Then the stage isn't set for them to come to Egypt when they come to Egypt and so on and so forth. And it would have thrown the prophecies off, which would have made the Most High lie. Now, nobody believe in Him. Well, technically, they don't believe in Him now. They just don't believe in the, let's say, the counterfeit version that they sell to you, which ain't believable no way. You understand me? But I was just marinating on this last night, like, not to a great degree, and I've been working on it, or rather, it's been working on me. Case in point, when I graduated, you know, the rehab I was in, they asked me to speak or whatever, what you think about this, and typically my speech ain't gonna be like everybody else. So I said, yo, I don't know. Now they say work the program. I said, I don't know how much I actually work the program. I ain't do no step work. I ain't get no sponsor. I ain't do none of that. But I think in my submission to what the Most High had ordained, I didn't work the program worked on me. I'm not necessarily, the Most High choose us. We don't choose him. And then in him choosing us and me submitting to the best of my ability, now I'm grateful that he did that. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten went to church and Bible studies and all that there. It's something different when he put you on a path where you meet him personally through seemingly haphazard situations. You know, breaking my neck. All of them years I was homeless, I always found money on the ground. Or I was always led to some place where nobody knew where I was at in safety and security. Like, I just can't sleep in front of the store. Yeah, I just can't do that. I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know how you do that. And I don't know where I'm asleep at, but somehow my feet point me in a way where I can get in. I'm pretty sure somebody's seeing me, but I can get in and get out and nobody know where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? One time I was homeless and literally went to a burnt out house in a residential neighborhood. The house had severe fire damage, and I was working at the time, but somehow the water and the electricity worked. So I could take a shower, you know what I mean? And I could charge my phone, because that was necessary for me to go to work in a house with fire damage. At very integral points in my life, when I'm down bad, Jack, I mean, I'm messed up to the woo-wee. Somehow, after a short period of time, when I don't know if I'm going to make it, somehow I get rescued. That was more so in my early 20s when I was super duper foolish. You know what I'm saying? He knew I was going to repeatedly return to the mud. He knew all that. But I still got grace and mercy. But then when I submitted, he still gave me grace, mercy, and favor. But then he put me on a path to harden me. So I get grace and mercy when I'm dead wrong. But I catch more hell when I'm trying to do right. Just like everybody else in the scriptures. You know what I'm talking about? That's real in the battlefield. So now I'm how I word it. I'm done trying to learn stuff. I just keep walking the path, and all this has been revealed to me. Just like when Yahusha asked Peter, he said, man, who people say I am? You're like, some people say you're Elijah, some people say you somebody else, right? But now who you say I am? He said, you the son of the living God. He said, you are blessed because my Father has revealed that to you. You didn't understand that. You know what I'm saying? I'm done trying to. The only way I can understand stuff is revealed to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just get it now, or I get, as they call it, a download. I'm in a prime position to get. I'm going to get no more download that's pertinent to my programming and the mission and my part that I play in this game, in this physical reality called life. No more, no less. I try to get certain skill sets. Seem noble, seem practical. And then I think, well, if I don't have these skills, what's going to happen in the future? Man, don't even worry about the future. Nothing else exists but now. And just like I ain't know how, like I plan for, I don't know how I'm going to do this, or whoop, 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 whoop. I don't need to learn whoop, 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 because it's already provided for me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, like the story when Yahusha, when he found the, I forgot what parable that is, but they found the gold coin in the fish mouth. I would like to believe the fish already had the gold in his mouth. It was just waiting because he knew Yahusha was going to be there. Like, it's almost like in the army where you got to get to certain points because that's where the supplies are at. As long as you go down this spiritual path, whatever you need will be provided for you because he already knows the direction you going if you obedient. You know what I mean? Word up. So it's not, I don't believe that when he said whatever he said and then reached for the mouth, it just materialized right then and there. You know what I'm saying? It was already there. Like I was talking to one of my master sensei when I first went to Baltimore. Now, he come more out of Eastern philosophy, religion, so on and so forth, right? So he was saying something to the effect of, now because of how he grew up, he broke the Christianized program and he went into the army and he started getting into more Eastern philosophies when he was over Vietnam. So he has a disdain for the whitewashing Christianized version of, let's say, church Christianity, right? Fair enough, cool, right? But I know, you know, in the Bible it says, if you deny me before men, I'll deny you before my Father in heaven. So I called my mom. Now, mind you, he great teacher. Like, he make my mind work. I like people make me think, right? But when he would make these little, you know, articulations about his disdain for, as he called them, water walkers, I called my mom and said, yeah, we're going to have a meeting of the mind. Not that I'm looking forward to it, but, you know what I mean? We're going to clash at some point. I already know this. 2 weeks later, he starts this group off on Friday nights. He's like, man, where my water walkers at? Well, yo, I know some of y'all in here. But everybody, because he had this thing about, like, if you say something, you got to be able to prove what you're saying to him. Science, Eastern philosophy, right? So he'll put you on the spot, and if you kind of whatever, or you don't know what you're talking about, he would embarrass all the piss out of you. But I don't care nothing about that. So I stick my little hand up, you know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, you believe in what? I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? He said, well, prove to me God exists. Now, mind you, now ask me a question. Prove to him that God exists. But I understand he's coming out of science and Eastern philosophy. So I don't answer the question. I just ask him another question. I said, Mr. Woody. He said, yeah. I said, you want me to prove to you God exists? He said, yeah. I said, Mr. Woody, before they scientifically discovered that Pluto, the planet, existed, he said, yeah. I said, wasn't it always there? So I stunned him a little bit, right? And he did what I like to call a good Baltimore verbal two-step. Like, he danced around it. Then he came back to it, said something right. But he never really answered the question. But he basically was like, I feel where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? So after the group, everybody flocked to me like I'm Lamar Jackson. Like, oh my God, I never seen nobody stand up to him. I'm like, he's just a man, but I just asked a simple question. When you discover something, it was previous to you discovering it. It always existed. You know what I'm saying? Just like this concept of the Most High, does he exist? Is he real? Who is it? Da da da. Before they, okay, I don't know. Before you discover, or let's say you growing up, right? And you know, your brain becomes self-aware of the world around you. Like when you a baby, you're not really conscious of that. You're just conscious of, I want mommy, I want food, I want poop, I want sleep, right? The world around you still exists. You're just not aware of it. But just because you ain't aware of it, don't mean it's not around you, because you're actually in it. You just don't know that yet. But as you continue to grow up, you'll become aware of it. But it was aware of it before you came aware of it, if that make any sense. You understand me? But I've lately been in this vein about programming and how the Most High, right, is the master programmer. Case in point, right? So, you know, Adam, and he tell Eve, he calls Adam go to sleep, right? So he had the power to make Adam go to sleep because he got to do something in this program. He create for him a companion, right? Then he tell him, you know, you can do anything you want to do, just don't fool with that tree over there. Whoa, what's up, Mr. T, right? So when I guess the proverbial Agent Smith, the serpent, right, convinced Eve to, you know, it corrupted the program. Because our original programming, we were supposed to live forever in this physical body. You know what I'm saying? After sin came in, that's when the programming got corrupted, or it got a virus in it. So that's when they say the thorns and the thistles and, you know, more predatory animals, I'm assuming. People have progressively don't live as long, you understand me? Because our programming got corrupted, you know what I mean? And he knew this was gonna happen. So then he put some gene in us from the end to now for us to wake up now. Where, and I used to remember when they talk about in the Bible where, you know, traits of those who are called or his, right? And it says something to the effect of, you will eat no poisonous thing or drink any poisonous thing, and it will by no means harm you. And that always stuck out to me because I never knew of a time where they could mass poison water, but we live in that existence now. We ingest poison all day, every day. I just ate some hot wings and it probably got some poison on it or some soy product to make you sweet or whatever. You know, what else is it? You'd be surprised how much this land is default and how pork enzymes or whatever are in like Jolly Ranchers or Dunkin' donuts and all that. But I've used drugs most of my life, whatever, and I'm in struggle with smoking cigarette, and I'm in perfect health if I go to the doctor. And it just poison on a daily basis because we're programmed to not be for the poison not to affect us, yo. The same way it affect everybody. We probably got shots like everybody else, but the shots never affected me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think they trying to, because they know we're especially. I think that especially the youngins coming up now and the babies. I think they're probably supposed to be even more gifted than we are. We're supposed to be the steward of them since we're the first generation that is awakening. I think them, the little kids or the younger, you know, generation supposed to be one with the superpowers. That's why they trying to shoot all them up with them drugs or whatever to suppress them. Yeah. Because they know what's finna happen. But these kids that are maybe super strong or super smart in a particular area, they putting some type of objective label on them, ADHD. Yeah, I'm not going to pay attention to something that don't interest my brain. How that means something wrong with me because I'm bored, because what you talk about don't mean nothing to me. You know what I mean? And then they're triggering, autism in these folk, or these or they're putting them on these pills a lot of times, and we can do that because we remove the father, who's probably going to be the spiritual, bodyguard of the home, to suppress what's in them. The youngins now, they know better than us in a lot of ways. The youngins now know that the modern woman of heart, they see it, they might have seen it out their family member, their mama, the people they go to school with. So they trying to be entrepreneurs. They ain't trying to be under the white man construct. They want to hustle themselves. Now, of course, they kind of doing the left-hand way, whatever. But we'll fault them because they're actually trying to break the program. You know what I mean? Mr. T said, right, it's our job to will them into what the Most High wants them to be. We as parents had the right to be able to teach them. Yeah, it was programmed for me at this time to now assume sole legal and physical custody of my child, to whom the very sad thing. Because my daughter, she's out this mob too. And it's crazy because me and my daughter be on the same sleep schedule. We go take a nap at the same time. No matter, we can be apart. We take a nap at the same time. We get up at the same time. We always find ourselves in the kitchen 2:30 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so my daughter said, she asked me something. She said, Dad, I said, what's up, baby? She said, if the sun is space. I said, yeah. She said, well, why space dark then if that's where the sun at? I said, there she is. And I told her mother they was going to run this play on her before my child was born. You know what I'm talking about? When you start asking questions or stuff don't make sense to you, it's because it ain't supposed to, because this world don't make no sense to those who are programmed to live in a godly fashion. You know what I mean? The worst thing you can do now in Babylon is want to get married, even though, for the most part, that's a noble thing to do. Woe to them who call evil good and good evil. You should want to get married. You should want to create legacy and dynasty. You know what I'm saying? But more often times than not, for those that really want that, they've corrupted the other party to discourage you from wanting something, or they put a bad name on something that should be good. But if you whoremonger, or if you play the proverbial game that you can play on the modernized woman, Babylon will reward you for that with more harlots, but in the end, it leads to destruction. Just like when you sell out, but then you come to discover later on as you get older, what you sold out for has no value. So you sold out for nothing. They still control your money, you know what I'm saying? The money you make ain't yours, you know what I'm saying? Because they can take it back through legal fees or scandal that they can make seem real at any point in time. Actually, you own nothing in this world, whether you on the right-hand side of thing or the left-hand side of thing. Just depending on the program and where you're at along that journey, you just get to be the steward of stuff for a certain period of time. You own nothing in this world, because in reality, the spiritual world is probably more real and you'll spend more time there than the physical world. Just like I say, after the 1,000 years and the lamb sit down with the lion and all that, we're going back. He's going to set the right program back to order. You know what I'm saying? Where you don't necessarily need to eat 17 times a day. You know what I'm saying? Where you become more godly in your fashions and your ways and your mannerisms. That's why I don't think them New York guys, them up top New York guys, let's say back in the 80s, I don't think they were so much off, yo. When they say, yo, what's the daily mathematics, B word? Or they would call each other God, not in a blasphemous sense, but in a little g, because that is in the word. Do you not know that ye are gods? You had the ability to create, or the programmer gave us the ability to create, to produce life. Just like, for instance, and this is a well-known fact, if I got a jar of rice and another jar of rice, and I put one label say love and one label say hate, within a short period, well, I don't know what the period of time would be, but you'll see a significant difference in the quality of the rice between the one that has love and the one that has hate on it. When they talk about life and death is in the power of the tongue, I kind of took that, okay, yeah, like positive act, but it's deeper than that. You can technically program or manifest as long as it's within the parameters of your programming. You know what I mean? That's why, what's in the word where I say, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can ask for anything and it'll be given unto you. Because if you're doing what you're supposed to do, spiritually, scripturally, so on and so forth, your prayers will be in alignment to his will, to the programmer, and then he can give it to you. You know what I'm saying? That's when they talk about, and they make it more esoteric or new agey, and I ain't with none of that. In the manner, you can manifest. You know what I'm saying? And so long as you're in alignment with the ultimate programmer, you know what I'm saying? I've got more prayers answered doing less than I ever did when I was in the world and seemingly could make it happen. Now I'm up to the greater understanding and revelation how this is basically a physical, I'm a spiritual being, I have a physical experience. Yeah, that's why don't nothing make no sense to me. It never had. It's not supposed to, because it's against my program. But then the school indoctrination system attempts to rewire your program, such as 1 + 1 is 2, but 1 times 1 is 1. How? That's why I really couldn't grasp math, because the math is off. The numbers are off. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think 0 is supposed to exist. How does nothing exist? It's nothing. You know what I mean? If you think about it. But yeah, that's just a little quick jump. Just ran down here. I'm getting a little hot sitting in this car. But one love. I appreciate those who like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Mr. T. Shout out to Pearl State. Just some food for thought on this Sabbath. One love, baby. Ooh.